Hello, students. Welcome to another web series video this week about resume building tips. My name is Lisa Erickson. I am the College and Career Coordinator here at Graduation Alliance, and I'm excited today to share some important, helpful information when it comes to this piece of finding that job that you're looking for. Because as we all know, resumes are the thing that will stand out, that will make you look good, right? When it comes to finding that job that you're looking for. And a lot of students kind of feel like this is a little bit of a barrier sometimes. So we're going to talk about a few specific techniques that you can put into play that can help you when it comes to building your own resume. So I want to talk a little bit about ways that we can work on improvements specifically. And the first one is to personalize the resume for the job that you're looking for. So you will want to have a nice, already created resume. And we'll talk a little bit about what that might look like for you and a couple other tips here in the future. But one thing that you'll want to do is you'll want to go in and maybe make some changes, some updates. Look at your skills. Look at what it is that that specific job is looking for. And that way you can kind of personalize your resume to meet the needs of the job. So make sure when you're looking through those ads or looking through those, emails you get with job updates or whatnot, that you're thinking about those specific pieces that will make your resume really stand out when they're selecting someone for that job. That also includes maybe using keywords from the ad that you find. Okay. You might want to look in that ad and say, oh, look at this thing that stands out right here. They really want someone who can do this, this, and this. And I have skills in a couple of those areas. So I'm going to make sure that I have that listed right there on my resume. So when an employer scans that resume, they're looking for those keywords and they can see those really easily on my specific resume. Okay. So they want someone who has those qualifications. One thing that is so important, guys, I cannot stress this enough. Make sure that your resume looks great. Proofread it, spell check it, do it again. Ask a trusted friend or, family member, or roommate or somebody to proofread it for you. I know sometimes we get a little bit nervous having other people look at things that we've created, but truly someone from a different viewpoint can possibly give you some great ideas and thoughts or, small things that maybe you want to improve, and it can really, really help because typos on your resume will often just take you right out of the running. People will see those and they'll think, oh, this person doesn't care about the details, the small things, and we want to make sure we're hiring people who care about those things. You also might want to be mindful of the length of your resume. It doesn't need to be super long. A one-page resume really does suffice. You don't need to create pages and pages and pages in order to get that job. So I would say 1 to 2 pages, depending on kind of your history and what you've been able to do. If you're just a recent graduate and you're just moving into the career field you're going into now, a one-page resume will probably be just fine. After you have lots of experience and you have more jobs and more skills and things like that, 2 pages is kind of where you want to focus. But one thing I do get asked from students is, what if I have little or no work experience? And this gets a little bit tricky, but you can still make a great, impactful resume. Okay. So one thing that you can focus on is soft skills. And these are traits and qualities that you have that you are able to really focus on in your resume, right? You might not have tons and tons of job experience, but you can talk about your skills. You can talk about what a great communicator you are, problem solver, all of those wonderful things. Maybe you have some other, certifications that you've done. Maybe you've done an industry credential. You can include those things on there. Those are great. Anything that you can do to show that you have skills is really important. And it doesn't always necessarily have to be hard skills, as they call them, which is in the specific field that you're in, but you can focus also on those soft skills. When it comes to the years of experience to include on your resume, I would recommend never going farther back than 10 years. That might not be an issue for some of you, but it might for others. If you go back too far, that experience doesn't have as much meaning to your employer. If it's specifically in the field you're in now and the job you're looking for, then yes, definitely include all of your experience that you've had in the field. But if maybe 10 years ago you worked in a bookstore, but now you're going into the field of nursing, it's really not necessary to include that, especially if you have other experience that you can really focus on that's more applicable to the job that you're going into. Another question I get, can I add volunteer work on a resume? Yes, definitely. Anything that, once again, brings attention to your skills, to your experience, to things that you've done is a great thing to include on a resume. This is especially great for those who might not have a lot of actual work experience. You can instead focus on some volunteer work that you've done. And that's a great way to show things that you've done, even if it's not necessarily in the workforce. Okay, so now I wanted to share with you guys two different ways that you can lay out your resume and kind of talk about which ones might work best for you. So, when it comes to a chronological resume format, you can see how simple this is. This was right off of Indeed. And this one is specific to maybe individuals who are working in the same industry and have some consistent employment. So you can see at the top, name, contact information, a summary or objective. This is an area that allows you to kind of make those updates that we talked about there, making them more personalized to the specific job. You can see that listed here when you put it in your summary. Then you'll do your professional history. Maybe it's 2 jobs, maybe it's 3. But what's great is that you can also break down and share some of the specific tasks, the things that you have done in that area. So you can show, once again, your skill set. Then you can include your educational history, followed by your skills and abilities. And that's where you can include all those soft skills that I just mentioned. Okay. So you can see kind of right before your eyes how you can start to integrate some of those things that we talked about. Okay. And so simple, so easy. This looks so very clean, right? Another way that you can format your resume is in a functional type of way. This is more a focus on your skills and accomplishments. And this is a great one for those who maybe have gaps in employment where you're not talking about those specific years you did this, this, and this necessarily, but you're really focusing on your area of experience, your skills. You see how these are the things that are first. These are the things that you're really highlighting on this type of a resume. You do include, professional experience, and that's important, but it might not be as much of the resume. It might not fill up as much space, but you're still including the same things. It's just a different way to format your resume overall. Your name's still there, your summary's still there. At the end, you're also including your education, but you're just doing this in a little bit of a different way because, maybe like this individual, you only have experience for 2 years, as you can see here, but they're showing all of the great skills that they have. And that's what you're really focusing on when it comes to this functional type of resume. So either one will work, but it just depends on what works for you. But one of the great things out there is there are templates that you can search for and you can find, so you do not have to start from scratch when it comes to building your own resume. You can utilize Microsoft Word, you can search online, there's tons of free templates. There's so much information out there. But once again, I just want to remind you to make sure that someone is checking it once you've completed it. It might feel like it's a lot, but if you do this little by little and you add to your resume as you go and you're improving it constantly, you're going to have a great resume that you can use to apply for jobs. So one other thing that I'm going to be focusing on in the future is this idea of a cover letter and how important that is as well, because most jobs that you apply for nowadays will ask for a cover letter in addition to your resume. So we'll be discussing that in an upcoming video. So don't worry about that. If you have questions about it, we'll get to it. Right now, focus on this resume, focus on making it your very best, focusing on your skills, highlighting your accomplishments. If you have experience of any kind, go ahead and put that in there. And if you have more questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. That's what I'm here for when it comes to proofreading, looking over your resume, or answering any questions you might have. Thanks so much, guys.